Well, you're in tune to freeform, listener-sponsored radio WFMU East Orange, WXHD Mount Hope, and WFMU.org. My name is Fabio, and live in the studio with me this evening, right here, are Throbbing Gristle. I'll introduce them. Genesis Breyer P-Orridge has been here several times over the years.
That's true.
And but never in this context, so this is a whole new thing for us. Cosey, Fanni, Tutti. How do you like it pronounced? Is it Cosey fan tutti or is it Cosey
Fanni Tutti?
Okay. We have Peter Christopherson,
also known as Sleazy.
Sleazy.
Hello.
We'll get to that later. And Chris Carter at the end. You don't have any kind of pseudonym or like funny name or anything like that?
Funny at home.
You need to speak into the microphone. I'm sorry. Okay. I see. Saboteurs to the very end. To the very end, right?
What on earth are you saying over there?
So, this is a momentous occasion for all of us, at least for WFMU.
The very first time to have all of Throbbing Gristle on the east coast of America ever.
Really? Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I know you've never played here before, but...
We've never all been here at one time, have we? I don't believe so.
Wow, this is
First
exciting.
gathering.
So are you excited to play in New York? Brooklyn, actually.
Yep.
Brooklyn.
Who's
got that bit of paper with where we're playing? We've lost it all.
Well, you're playing. I know you're playing at the Masonic Temple in Brooklyn. It's in Fort Greene, I believe. And Genesis is rummaging through some itinerary or such thing. So you're playing at the Masonic Temple in Brooklyn and at the Poisson Rouge in Manhattan on Friday.
Correct.
Actually, we're excited to be playing. We're excited to be alive, to be honest.
We made it this far.
Were there issues as far as that's concerned?
Always.
Well, I'm amazed that after 30 some odd years, you actually are here together and are going to perform in New York. I still can't believe it. It's kind of an amazing thing for many people.
Maybe you died and went to heaven, Fabio.
Well, maybe. You never know. This could all be an illusion. So now let's go back a little bit. Let's rewind. So the band formed in what, the 74 or so, 75?
75.
And you came out of another project called, how did you pronounce it? Coom?
Right.
Coom Transmissions. So one thing I was always curious about is like, why do a new thing called Throbbing Gristle when a lot of the same ideas that you were doing with Coom Transmissions are basically present there?
Because it didn't come out of Coom, actually.
It didn't?
No. It was a completely new thing, independent of Coom. And that was the whole point of it.
Okay.
Also,
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
although the same people were involved, it was very much a question of wanting to reach a new audience, wanting to reach a different age group, a different class of people altogether. With the art world at that time was reserved for artists and for professors and for rich people, and there was a strong feeling amongst us that we wanted to get to the ideas that we had into a more general kind of music market or youth market, and so we reconfigured.
Well, that's interesting because you say music market, because from what I understand, Throbbing Gristle was, to quote some obscure interview somewhere, you said that, someone said, maybe it was you, that it wasn't so much about music, but it was about information. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, but that was one aspect of what we were doing. But where there's a link is probably in strategies. For example, Cosey, especially, and myself have been involved a lot with mail art. and to some degree Sleazy, and then Coombe in itself as an entity had. So we took a lot of those ideas from Fluxus, Mail Art, and so on in terms of strategies and propaganda and merchandising, and applied those to the idea of the rock band, but the rock band, as Sleazy says, reconfigured into non-musicians with an attitude and with some sort of message, something to discuss rather than just entertainment.
Right. Well, certainly it wasn't just about entertainment. You were going to say something?
Yeah, because then we also took the music business strategies as well and skewed them to our own needs. So we played around with both art worlds and the music business techniques, and we were just we did it and we enjoyed it when it was fun, but it was sort of serious intent as well.
So you, as a collective, claim to have a mission, so to speak. So after all these,
so did Jim Jones.
Right. So after all these years, how do you feel about what you wanted, what you did then, as opposed to what you want to do today? How is it? How does it differ? I mean, in terms of the music, in terms of the message, if there is a message. Are we putting you to sleep, Jen?
No, that's me thinking hard in old age. Focusing the brain, listening.
We were just listening to the tracks you've just been playing downstairs, and we were amazed to find how similar the tracks we did 30 years ago and the ones we do now sound to each other, because somehow we thought we were doing something that was, in a way, quite different. But because the music comes directly from the backs of our minds rather than from the front, in a way, it's a much truer expression of the people that we are and what we do.
So what you're saying is the chemistry, whatever was there 30 years ago, the same chemistry applies today.
Exactly.
Whether you want it or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what happens.
The tools that we use might be different, the technology might be different, but the instinct comes from the same source.
How do you feel about the way things are recorded today? I mean, obviously back then you were limited by the technology you had. Today it's a very different situation, and just hearing the new recording, I mean, it's a lot cleaner sounding, all that kind of stuff. You have professional studio availabilities. So, no?
No.
Not
really?
at all. We don't use them at all.
But, so what, you recorded this in the bedroom or something?
Basically.
Chris is the technical wizard.
The technical wizard, okay. So you recorded it in your studio.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, it sounds a lot cleaner and a lot,
That's possibly because of technology that we have now. You can do that. Sorry, Sleazy's waiting.
It's okay.
Most people with a decent knowledge of electronics and computers can do a decent recording in their bedroom or in their, on their own. You don't have to go to a regular commercial studio to get a decent sound.
Well,
you have to have the knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but 30 years ago, you had also a situation where you basically started a kind of independent trend of recording and releasing music, which wasn't really done much in those days, except for punk rock records. And today, it's a very different situation, right? I mean, people record their stuff and they put it up on the web, and it's out there, right? So, how do you feel about this shift in the way things get out there, and do you feel it's affected the quality of what's getting out there?
Yeah, it bypasses the quality control, I think, at times.
Because it's too easy?
Yeah. I think that's been a problem with music a lot since the mid-70s, is that as it got easier, more of it arrived and more of it wasn't really worthy of being there. People tend to sort of think because they can work a computer and they can use the software that's enough, and it's not enough. You have to give yourself to it and use the technology rather than the technology just present itself and be used as music, because it isn't. Right.
I think it's partly to do also with the ease with which it's possible to make your own records now. If in the 70s, even though we were recording on cassette machines or on a quarter-inch or whatever, it still took time to develop the sound we were making, or to think about it and record, like tape sounds, or to come up with ideas for songs and stuff. And the time that it used to take meant that you abandoned, a lot of ideas in the refinement process of the job in hand of the project. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, you can, in GarageBand or something, you can put together something that sounds relatively professional in about 42 seconds.
Yeah.
And then put it out there, which means that
right.
there's no filtering.
Right.
There's no consideration about
right.
whether or not it speaks a story, whether or not it's the best it could be, whether it could be arranged and done differently, mixed differently, approached differently, etc. We would meet every weekend, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday for a year or so, and then still ongoing through TG, we would jam. Mm-hmm. And record as much as we could, and then spend the evenings listening back to those tapes and going, that bit we like, maybe we can do that twice. Can we recreate that sound or not? Mm-hmm. And then from that, we would refine down, as Sleazy says, to our favourite hour or so of noise and rhythms, and then say, well, are there any stories we want to tell? What would they be? Who would they be about? Who are they for? Who's going to listen?
But a lot of the time as well was spent when we were jamming like that, was getting to a state as we were playing where we all felt good at the time. If it made you feel good, it was a good starting point for then expressing something further, or Jen to put lyrics onto. So it wasn't just a case of, oh, that sounds good and we can make a track out of that. It was, that feels good. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it was as much about feeling as about the sound that we generated as well, because that really, for me, was more what it was about.
Right.
I think the training, if you could say that we had any training at all, it was not musical training. It was a training to put ourselves in a particular mental state when we play. And as a consequence of spending 4 or 5 years learning how to do that and learning to put ourselves in the state that we are when we're on stage, it didn't matter that we stopped for 25 years or whatever it was, 23 years. We could come back, and the methodology of putting yourself in that state remained ingrained.
Right. Speaking of which, like, there was a long period where, I don't know if you all sort of didn't want to deal with each other, or what exactly caused the sort of separation of church and state, or whatever it was. but at a certain point,
I'm gonna be the Pope.
But at a certain point, you decided why to come back to redo.
It's that guy's fault.
This guy's fault.
That
he's pointing to Paul Smith over there, and what he offered you a big chunk of money or something, or a gold bracelet,
his silver tongue,
a case of wine. So really, it was instigated by Paul. Like, he really put you all back in touch with each other.
Yeah, and I think over the years it became very obvious to us all that TG had become bigger than what had made it stop years ago, really. And that we owed it to each other and TG and everybody else in some ways to actually take hold of the whole concept of it and make sure that its legacy stayed intact the way we wanted it to.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I was just going to say, it's incredibly annoying to find that something from such a long time ago, such a long time ago in one's history, in one's past, remains much more popular than what we're doing now.
You always say things like that. You're so weird.
Speak for yourself. Speak
that
for
really
yourself.
Doesn't bother me.
Well, I mean,
but we're very pleased. But we're very pleased that it does.
Oh, that's the apology at the end.
Well, it sounds like we drag Sleazy, kicking and screaming.
Finished with this again.
Well, how do you feel about the fact that TG has influenced so many artists, musicians, bands, whatever, over the last 30 years? I mean, from the very earliest days. And then, of course, throughout the 80s and into the 90s, there were many, many, many bands and artists that were affected and influenced. And you read it all the time. Oh, yeah, well, I'm a big fan of TG. I mean, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, big fan of TG. I mean, like many, many, many bands have mentioned this. So how do you feel about your progeny, as it were?
Personally, I'm still not used to being, seen as the godfather of. I think we've all had that. We've all had that experience recently. People coming up to us and say, "Oh, you changed my life," blah blah. If I could be the fairy godfather, that would be okay.
So you don't see that you really had any, I don't know, impact on music?
I think we acknowledge that maybe some of the ideas that we had, or some of the rejection of dead forms that we made all that time ago, possibly helped other people to reject those forms and come up with new ones, which has got to be a good thing. So we do acknowledge a little bit in a kind of modest way, but
we don't easily take compliments, do we?
It's hard because we're brought up even as children to easily respond to criticism, negative criticism, and people saying bad things about you. You get used to it, and you learn how to deflect it or make fun of it.
Well,
but compliments are really hard to deal with. What are you supposed to say? Oh, yes, actually, I am really brilliant. Thanks so much. And now suck my dick.
What kind of a society is it where you can be walking through the shopping mall with your 3-year-old kid, and it's okay to shout at him, you're completely useless, you'll never amount to anything, but it's not okay to pick him up and hug him. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Well, what we were just saying,
that
it's difficult to accept the
negative comments are much more prevalent in our society than positive ones.
Well, yeah, it's
more acceptable as
it's
well.
like the line they use in journalism: "If it bleeds, it leads." Right.
Right. Exactly.
Didn't know that one, but
it's
the bottom line is that there's no question that from TG came industrial records. And the slogan, industrial music for industrial people, and a very different, completely different approach to how to construct what was seen as rock, popular, avant-garde, now indie music. And that's, you can go anywhere in the world now, Russia, Cambodia, Tokyo, Africa, everywhere, and there's industrial music sections in the shops. There's T-shirts of 9 Inch Nails, there's this global movement.
Sure.
Which may or may not acknowledge that it began in this tiny place in Hackney with these eccentrics saying, why the hell not? So it's a strange phenomena to even observe, never mind take responsibility for. Plus it's like jazz, it's grown and changed into all these different pathways.
Well, from the very beginning, it kind of mutated fairly quickly as the early 80s
But
evolved.
Because of that mutation, we're not really responsible. We end up being only responsible for TG again.
Well, yeah, you're not responsible for the rest of the world's actions, but you have influenced many people and whatever, just like William Burroughs influenced you, and various other people, the Fluxus and the Austrian actionists and what have you. Right, so there is a history and a precedent, and then the influences go on from there.
But what we're saying is really that TG ends up after all these years, just back with itself, doing as Cosey said, music because we find that chemistry still exciting and interesting, and we still discover things that we haven't discovered before. Sonic things, sound combinations, word combinations that still we find them challenging and interesting.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, we heard from your soon-to-be-released new album, The Third Mind Movements, which, tell me about it. When is it coming out?
Tomorrow.
Do you know? Tomorrow? Is that
It'll
true?
be first on sale.
It's not coming out. It's for sale on tour.
Oh, it's for sale on tour. It's not coming out in the States at all?
No.
Not in the foreseeable future.
Why would we want to release it on an American label?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe your fans would want to hear it.
We'll have to come to the show.
Then if they come to the show, that's fine.
Yeah, they should come to the show and buy it there.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, for those of you listening, if you want to get the new album, for the time being, maybe someday it'll be released in the States, but for the time being, it'll be available at the shows. And is it going to be released in England, in Europe?
We don't know at the moment.
Anywhere, it's available.
Oh, this is a tour-only thing
Right.
Yeah.
at the moment.
Decided they wanted to have out for this tour.
Wow. Okay. Well, we heard one track off of that, called "Premature," I believe. Do you want to say anything about this new album? This new recording? Anything at all? No. No? Okay.
You're not playing it live, right?
We're not.
Playing anything on this one?
No.
No, I don't think so. No.
That's what we say.
Built on, yeah, that you heard it. Band.
How about this? We take a short break. We'll play another track off of this, and when we come back, we'll take some calls on the air.
Sure.
Sure.
You're into
sounds
that?
Good.
Okay, so for anyone listening, 201-200-9368 is the studio line. You can call in and you can ask the band yourselves whatever you want. Well, I don't know if they'll answer whatever they... but 201-200-9368. We're going to go and go back to the album, and we're going to hear, what is it, track 4. What is this? Perception is the only reality. Okay. From the new... hopefully soon to be released.
No.
No,
okay.
Only on sale on this tour album.
Okay. All right. Okay. You heard it from
Go
the band.
to Coachella and buy one.
You can't buy them at Coachella.
Oh, that's the one place they can't get them. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Well,
so perverse to the end.
to the very end. Yes. Okay. Let's listen to this, and when we come back, we'll take calls on the air with the band. Okay. Here's Throbbing Gristle. Well, we're saying sounds really good on the headphones, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Spooky. So we're going to attempt this way out kind of phone demon kind of thing. 201-200-9368. If you want to call in and speak directly to the band, now's your chance. Or forever hold your peace.
Don't be shy.
They won't bite you.
No.
They're actually quite pleasant. 201-200-9368. Let's see.
That's because we've already wrecked civilization.
Yeah.
Yes, the wreckers of civilization. That is such an odd statement. We're listening to, what is this, Perception? Yeah, Perception is the only reality. So I take it the title has some reference, some significance to...
Us.
Okay, I won't take that any further. So, have you done shows in Europe just recent? I know you've done shows. No, you haven't. So this is is this the beginning of the tour or what?
Correct. Correct.
Uh-oh, that's a bad sign. Oh, no.
Yes, this is the beginning of the tour.
So is actually the first show in New York? Is this the
Tomorrow.
Really? Oh, wow, that's exciting. Are you all excited about this?
We are very excited.
That's why we're all keeping ourselves waist below the top of this table.
There's all sorts going on underneath this.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm not going to touch that.
You walked into that.
I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch it. 201-200-9368. 201-200-9368. Let's see. Is there somebody on the line here?
Talk to me.
I think that's Genesis on the line, isn't it?
No, that's not it.
Can't tell with us. It could be the music. Subliminals.
Normally we don't know who's playing what when we play live. No, like we're going, is that you?
Hello?
And now you've got the same problem with the phones.
Is there anybody there?
Hello? Are you there? I'm trying.
Sorry.
Oh.
Diving tone, nothing like it.
Oh my God, this is a nightmare.
Oh, it's my phone. Someone rang me up.
Another day in the world of...
Tell them they got the wrong number, they should be ringing the station.
Yeah, it could be me with this nonsense. What's that? Are you getting anything?
Jen's getting all the calls.
It was a dead call. You picked it up just as I was hanging it up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, the phone line is acting up. 201-200-9368 is the number to call if you want to speak with the band. This is your chance.
They're scared of us.
They are. I think they're very scared of you. So, where are we here with this recording?
Perhaps you should play some music and regather your thoughts, Fabio.
Yes. Well, we have more music from your album in the background. (201-200-9368) is the number to call if you want to speak with the band live in the studio. They're waiting for your call.
I guess there's no one out there.
Let's talk a little bit about the audience, shall we? How do you feel about the audiences today? I mean, you did shows in what, 2004, 2006, right? So was there any difference that you saw or felt from the audiences as opposed to when you were doing shows in 77, 76, that sort of thing?
I think way back then, we were more scared.
You were more scared.
Yeah. Because I can distinctly remember, having a serious discussion whether we should have,
Sleazy was scared.
security.
We three.
Really?
were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were
And
the audiences
a number
violent?
of times in the 70s, the audiences were very violent.
That's true.
No,
That is true.
Really?
Yeah.
Were they attacking you
Yeah.
directly, or
Yeah.
or just themselves?
They were
freaking
trying to
out?
kill us.
They were trying to get us off the stage.
We always got on the stage expecting violence.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And to be confronted by skinheads or anyone else that just wanted to fight with us
Other
because of what we
bands,
did. Other
yeah.
bands.
The thing is, it was without precedent.
Well, I mean, do you think that it might be because of the subject matter or
No.
the type
No,
of thing
no,
you were doing that
no.
they thought that you expected them to behave this way?
No, there's a classic example. We were invited to do something at the Architectural Association in London.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought we'd make it architectural in theme. And we found a courtyard in the back that was surrounded by buildings. So we made a cube of scaffolding and put the stage there and then covered it in tarpaulins like on the back of a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
had cameras in there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to see us play, you had to stay in the buildings and look at these TV monitors, but we didn't have the sound turned up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to hear us play, you had to hang out of the windows or go up on the roof and so on and look down. But you couldn't be an audience and get both.
I see.
And there was a riot. They went nuts. They were throwing things down and trying to... they smashed through the doors to get to the stage.
Well, it's like you confused them.
Yes.
Yeah, their role as an audience member was totally destroyed.
Yeah.
By the way we presented ourselves.
Right.
And that manifested in violence towards us, basically. I mean, as Kumi and Jen had sort of had the similar reaction with performances we did in Actions, didn't we?
Yes, we did. So
So-
we were kind of...
We're kind of used to it.
But in a sense, you definitely provoked them, right?
We didn't mean to provoke them.
We just thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah. What we wanted was to present something that they hadn't experienced before, which to us was something exciting, but something very confusing to them.
And the frustration was revealed as violence and animosity rather than curiosity, which to us was surprising. We always found novelty and things we didn't expect exciting and challenging and inspiring. So in our naivety, we thought other people would too. And it took us quite some time to realize that that wasn't the case. A lot of people were determined to try and impose their expectation on us with physical violence if necessary, rather than accept that we were doing something different.
You have to remember that English people have been painting their face blue for like 2,000 years. So there's a long tradition of hooliganism. And although I respect tradition now more than I used to, that's not one that I respect.
So, what did you consciously do anything sort of towards the end of your early days to deal with that?
We fought back.
You fought back. Did you carry sticks on stage with you to
No, if someone
beat
threw
them
us-
down?
If somebody threw a chair at us on stage, then we'd jump off the stage and throw chairs back.
I was handed a number to another number to call. Let's try this: 201-209-9368. That might work better. So 201-209-9368. I think we've got some calls now. Let's try this.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, am I on?
You're on the air. Can you all hear them?
Yeah.
Yes, they can hear you.
Well, this is, I mean, I have to say it's such an honor, but I'm just, I just have to say it. But been a fan for 30 years, and I did want, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the new recording sounds fantastic, and I'm really sad that I won't actually be able to get my hands on a copy, but perhaps it'll be bootlegged or something like that. And in fact, I'm
sure
it will
they're
be.
happy
I'm
to
sure
hear
it will-
that.
Yes, I'm sure it will be actually. But anyway, I did want to. And if there are any openings left on any slots and dates available, I would highly recommend actually two venues or cities: Austin, Texas, which is where I am, and I guarantee you'd sell out. But great music town. But also, if you get the chance, go to Port Huron, which is north of Detroit. It's a little, small industrial city where back in the early 80s, they would sell out of your albums like clockwork. Very small town, but for some reason a very sort of a grim town, and for whatever reason, they really
I don't know why
big fans of you guys.
Why is it that we're so popular in these small grim towns? I don't understand that really.
We speak the language.
Yes. We used to make pilgrimages up there from Detroit when I was much younger. So
Do you,
anyway,
do you have a proper question?
yes.
I guess we should say that we don't unfortunately have any slots left in this
so even
particular
if I-
event. This particular.
Even if I were to say, please come to Austin for the springtime.
Well, that would be lovely, but it won't be this time.
All right.
Okay.
Ask
I
a question.
don't have a question. I don't. I just wanted to say hey. That's all.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey,
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
what was
You're
it?
on the air.
Oh, hi, I'm Chris from Chicago, and I have a couple questions.
Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Are you there?
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought the
Yeah.
phone cut out.
No, go ahead.
No, you're there, all right.
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan, and I love you guys so much. But I do have a couple questions. One of my questions is, how does it feel to be kicked out of the Epiphany for your music?
He just changed it to that on the.
I'm so sad, but I'm still going.
Oh, good. Did you get a ticket then? Because it doesn't matter where it's been changed to. Your ticket's still valid.
Okay, so how does it feel?
Oh, you mean because we were meant to play in a church and we're not playing it now, right?
Yeah, because of the trouble with.
I have to apologize to her. I cut her
Okay.
off the air, but did you get a question out of her?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're still listening, Chris, we'll answer your question. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I accidentally dropped her. You can call back and we'll try to get you back on. Let's take another call.
Well, hang on, we didn't answer the question.
Oh, you
yet.
didn't? Okay. Go ahead.
Hello?
No, you all.
Hello?
Let's just say quickly. Hi, just call it new caller. Just hang on one sec. For Chris, the reason that the venue changed in Chicago, I think, was as a consequence of problems some of the parishioners at the church in Chicago had with the concept of us playing, because it's still a church that's in use, and it used to be always that we would play in churches that were deconsecrated because for some reason that was more acceptable, but that particular church is still active, and my understanding is that the priest and the the people who are in charge of the church had no problem, but there was just some technical issues with the parishioners. So personally, I like playing in churches because they have such bad acoustics.
Okay. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm calling from Florida. It's glad to see you guys on the road again. Unfortunately, I won't be able to come see you because of my job, but kind of bummed about that.
Well, all of the shows will be available just directly after we finish the tour from www.throbbing-gristle.com as downloads.
Awesome.
So if you can download them from us rather than from a Juarez site or something, that would be great.
Oh, I definitely will, Peter. I got your Desert Shore and 32nd annual report.
Oh, wow.
Top notch.
Cool.
Good.
Thank you. All right.
You're welcome. I have two questions, and I'll let somebody else talk to you.
Go ahead.
Now that we're all down the road a little bit, do you guys consider yourself in the fraternity of British psychedelic bands?
British what?
Psychedelic bands.
No.
Well, I do, but then I'm always the odd one out, aren't I? In the sense of taking jamming, taking sort of improvising and trance and rhythm and spinning in sounds and images, whether they're verbal or literal, then there's a certain linkage with psychedelic music in that sense.
Okay.
But in terms of what people would normally think of as psychedelic music and its lineage, then obviously not. So we kind of like a hard-edged, toughened up titanium version of psychedelic.
We lack a trippy element of the psychedelic.
I would disagree with that. I think that the Throbbing Gristle is amazingly appropriate, if somewhat scary, for people that are used to the psychedelic experience. The number of people that write to us, or to me certainly, and say, I first heard this record when I was on 10 grams of this or that.
LSD or something.
Right. Is,
10
to me is totally scary.
I wouldn't recommend that.
But at the same time, I think part of the Throbbing Gristle experience is a kind of altered state, both for us and for the audience, and consequently, I think you could describe us definitely as a psychedelic band, but not in the sense of music to listen to when you want to take drugs. Much more in the sense of music that arises out of an alternate.
I understand. Well, I
state.
consider Wolf-Eye psychedelic, so what do I know? But,
Sure.
All right. Well, thanks for your question. I'm going to move on.
I have one more quick question.
Quickly.
If I could. Peter, is the coiled video box ever going to come out?
Yes, I promise. I'll steel myself to do it as soon as I get these more important things out of the way.
We know
living.
We know he's doing it because we were in Bangkok with Sleazy about 3 weeks ago and he was working on it, so it is being done.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right.
Cheers,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye. FMU, you're on the air.
Yes, hi. This is Mike in Chicago.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to the show next week, Saturday.
Cool.
And I'm really interested in the manufacture of electronic musical equipment, circuit bending. So I was kind of curious, how much has your electronic kit evolved from what you were using back in the 70s to what you're going to be bringing on this show now?
It's changed totally. The stuff we used to use in the 70s was very circuit bent and homemade, but the stuff we're using now is pretty much off-the-shelf material. Although we do have some bespoke synth gadgets, much of it, it's not circuit bent, is it, Sleazy?
Well, we do. You and I both enjoy finding obscure boffins who work for the Ministry of Defence in the daytime.
Shush.
What's that about?
Well,
No, we can't say. If we tell you, we have to kill you.
Okay. Well, I tell you what.
If you don't hear me on the air next week, you'll know why.
We know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, we're really looking forward to you. Thanks for making Chicago on your stop, and we'll catch you at the show.
It's a pleasure. It's going to be really good. I can.
Are you aware it's now at the Logan Square Auditorium?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
we got
good.
the announcement that it's at Logan Square. There's some, and plus it's really some great restaurants. It's a neat auditorium to perform in, and some good bars nearby. So it's perfect. So we're catching the 7 p.m. show with
Get some of that Chicago deep dish pizza to get fat on.
Oh yes, of course.
Good.
All right.
Let's all go
Thanks.
for pizza.
Thank you.
FMU, you're on the air.
Hey, how are you?
Okay.
Good. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Fine.
Fine.
Good. Going to see you tomorrow night. 2 easy questions. Are you going to be documenting all this stuff you're doing in the U.S.?
Constantly.
I would assume so. Video?
Not so much video. A lot of snapshots and.
Some of the shows are being filmed, I think, but
on the West Coast. I think,
Right.
yeah.
And ever thought of doing any cover songs?
Cover songs.
Well, funny. You should say that.
I mean, it's,
Well, just curious,
it's-
like
it's-
Britney or something.
Well, they're doing Nico's Desert Shore.
Right.
Oh, yes, right. I saw that, the Installation 12 CD thing. But
Well, we will eventually make that into a proper album that follows the same path as the Nico original album, but interpreted in a different way.
Right.
But in due course, I don't know when.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Take.
FMU, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yeah.
First of all, Cosey, saw your exhibit at the Vancouver Art Gallery just months ago. Thank you. It had some people up in arms, as always.
Oh, dear.
Question is, in an old early issue of Industrial News, you guys you announced that you had tactics for the first 4 albums, namely, Second Annual Report was propaganda, DOA was discipline, 20 Jessamine Greats was camouflage, and Heathen Earth was ritual. Is there a tactic behind this album and tour?
I thought these were easy questions.
That's a really good question. Wow. Made us all wake up.
Is there a strategy? Is there ever a strategy?
This time there's no strategy. Sometimes no sense makes sense, as they say. So this is exploration. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Thanks. FMU, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello, 4 beautiful people. You're all just so beautiful. We love you all.
What is your question, sir?
This is my question. This is mine. So beautiful, all of you. This is the question.
Okay.
In turn, each of you, how did your work with other bands outside of Throbbing Gristle, which obviously I don't have to name, how did that affect the music and musical relationship that you now have in Throbbing Gristle? How did it change the music? What did you learn?
Jen?
Oh. To relax and actually enjoy singing instead of being afraid that somebody would notice that we weren't really a singer.
Sleazy.
I would say to feel that I had the freedom to play notes if I wanted to. I think in the beginning it was I was intimidated, I think, by the nature of tuning. But I think that one thing that Coyle taught me was not to be afraid of tuning, and that it didn't mean that I wasn't selling out by having something, in an even-tempered pitch.
Well, you have a great ear for melody, Sleazy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've only gotten better, by the way.
Thanks. How about Cosey? What do you Cosey, what do you think?
Well, I did a lot of vocals when we became Chris and Cosey, so that's very different to what I do in TG. And I really enjoyed that and the freedom it gave me. But also, I think, because I still played a lot of guitar and cornet, then I got to know both instruments much more than I ever thought I would do, to be honest. And I've become really comfortable with them both. But I don't try and do anything. I'm still very free with what I do, and I've always retained that. It's just that sometimes Chris and Sleazy, funny enough, having said what you said, do go on about keys and minors and majors and
secrets.
Yeah, so
Hey, well, you're as good as Sid Barrett now, so you got something going on.
well, I don't even know what they're talking about, and I want to stay like that.
Me
yeah,
too.
well, it's very free. It's very free. What you've done now with a guitar. You're an excellent guitar player, even though whatever you couldn't play Freebird.
There's no need. Somebody else already played it, so it's fine.
Very well, yeah, for someone else, but yeah. And Chris.
I think working with other people just expands your horizons, and it allowed me to experiment in different directions than I would experimenting within CG. And what she said.
What she said. Well, you certainly got to explore your predisposition for something like ABBA with, very melodic synth pop, which is, of course, withstood the test of time just as much as they have.
Oh, great.
Mamma Mia.
It's interesting.
Mamma Mia. You guys are beautiful, by the way. And Sleazy, I owe you a Japanese dinner, by the way.
You do?
Yes, I do.
I'll take it.
Is that a euphemism?
It is. No, I promised him in Bangkok I'd buy him Japanese food, and
Hey, how are you? I didn't know it was
you. I'll see you tomorrow night, you beautiful people.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Thank
interesting,
you.
Fabio, that we all said we feel more comfortable with just doing the music and playing than we ever did before. Did you notice that? That we don't feel intimidated by the expectations. We just actually get pleasure from playing in a way we never did before. That's the main difference.
Well, I mean, that makes me think about the intentions you may have had in the early days. I mean, I guess you were but you were extending or continuing with your various sort of artistic approach to your work. And a lot of the, let's call it politics or theories or whatever it was being worked on and put in there. So you were really struggling with it and putting it out there. And then you were fighting people to get it out there, literally. So, I mean, maybe now because things are, with the passing of time and you're more comfortable with each other. And I'm just sort of extrapolating here. And it seems to me that that's possibly why. Some people have been sending in questions over the web, and I'll just read a couple of things off the top here. This is for Jen and Sleazy. After all the years, what is your view on Austin Osman Spare today?
Austin Osman Spare was an occult artist who worked in London at the beginning of the last century. I think Genesis and I have both on and off collected his work and sometimes sold it when necessary. And my attitude actually to art is slightly different now because I live in Thailand, and in Thailand generally people don't put pictures on their walls as much as Westerners do. Like Westerners, I think, kind of define themselves by the chair they're sitting in or the lamp that they have or the kind of sheets or something. And likewise, the art that they have on the wall or their own personal style or something. Whereas people in the East find that unnecessary, I think, because Asians tend to have a much quicker take on what each other is like. And so they don't feel it's necessary to define themselves in that way. And when I lived with John Balance, with Jeff, we lived very much as in the Western style, which is to define oneself with one's Crowley paintings and whatever else, and Austin Osman Spare. But now I've kind of felt that I've left that behind, and I feel the better for it. I don't know how you feel.
That's a very good explanation. That the West is very much a place to this day which is defined by possessions and environment, and one builds a nest, and the nest is a symbol of the who you are. But also because we travel a lot to Nepal, the Himalayas, to the Far East ourselves. Just got back from 5 or 6 weeks over there. My Austin Spare collection went in 1992 when we were suddenly stranded in California with 2 children, not allowed back to Britain for a while, and we sold it all and it paid the rent. So one should never get attached either to the item or to the idea, because you never know when it's suddenly going to shift in its importance and just become a resource. And letting go of that stuff, selling it, was not painful, was not difficult. It was a very simple decision, me and the kids or this stupid first edition.
Right.
And again, going to the east is just everything is devotional.
So if we start floating up off the stage tomorrow, you'll know.
It's just a very different approach. Everything in life is integrated still, and people are not necessarily obsessed with their status being displayed. In fact, often quite the reverse.
Well,
having said that, I think it's probable that people will find that you and I wear very loud clothing, whereas Chris and Cosey are very modest and.
I've got the gold earrings made in Kathmandu of the Endless Knot, which you couldn't get.
I've always liked the what is that?
This?
No, the machine gun.
Oh, the AK-47.
AK-47, yes, that's a very nice piece.
Well, we like that because it's like the Eye of Horus. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, actually, you're right. I never noticed that.
And that's
before.
the god of war. Sorry.
Jen will be singing tomorrow night.
The AK-47 is reputed to be the gun that sold the most. They sold the most of them. Millions and millions of them have been sold. And the person who invented it, Kalashnikov, is still alive in his 90s in Russia, and very proudly gives speeches about the fact that his gun has killed more human beings than any other gun invented so far. So we wear that to remind ourselves of both the symbolic nature of Western reality and the stupidity of it.
Yeah, more the stupidity, I'd say. Let's take another call. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, it's Chris again.
Yeah, sorry we dropped you earlier.
Oh, it's okay. I have a question for Genesis.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. So, you know that video on YouTube with Discipline and you kiss the guy at the end?
Yes.
Can you save me a kiss on this Saturday the 25th?
No saliva exchange is allowed anymore. That would ruin it, though. That was a classic improvised intuitive moment. And it's one of those incredible images that you could never, ever improve upon. And the ecstatic way that guy responds. I'd love to know where he is, if he's still around, if he's alive, who he was. But your idea is very sweet, but the answer is no, I'm married.
Oh, again? I didn't even know that. Okay.
And no, I'm still married.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
FMU, you're on the air.
Hi. This is Sherv from Berkeley.
From where?
And Berkeley, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I was calling with the follow-up about the Desert Shore album. I was really, jazzed when I first heard about it because I love Nico, and it just brings up the question, what inspired you all to try and climb inside what is already such a really beautiful, complete work of art and try and, dissect it, put it back together, give it your own spin? And was it harder for Genesis to try and vie directly with Nico, or did you feel she was your guide, or kind of how did you approach the whole thing?
Well, that's a hard question. Jesus.
Who?
We all of us, loved the album, and I must confess there to be an element of kind of naughtiness within TG. To
you think?
to sometimes take on commissions or ideas just because they're the last thing that one would expect, kind of in principle to be just a little bit bad. And the idea to do the Nico album just came about because it seemed to me that it would be something that would be so beyond people's expectations that it could be really interesting to do. It was just such a mad idea that the madness was a good thing and a creative push. Whether it remains to be seen whether that continues to be the case until the record's released.
It's the longest album we've ever taken to record.
Well, we're still tinkering around with it.
In terms of myself, the best part of doing it was that the other three trusted that my voice and my ability to interpret was enough, was worthy enough to do something with a record like that. It gave me a very strong sense of trust and support.
Did you do all the vocal parts?
In all the different languages, yeah. And to make it more difficult, they didn't let me hear their versions of the backing tracks until I was in the vocal booth.
Uh-huh.
So they would play me Nico's version to remind me of the original.
Right.
Then drop that away, and then play me their backing track, and then we'd try and do a vocal.
Wow.
In front of an audience, just to make sure that there was no cheating, no sort of secret excuses for backing away from it.
It must be said that vocalists normally ban everyone from the studio when they're doing their own parts. And in this respect, Jen was amazingly brave and also amazingly accomplished at what she did.
Does that answer your question? Are you still there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still there. And just a naughty question of my own. Will Monty Kazaza turn up in San Francisco?
No, he's coming to the Los Angeles performance.
You never know with Monty.
But then again, you might not.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, I was wondering if, Genesis, do you feel like you can still explore androgyny through your art after the passing of Lady J?
Oh, yes. We've been having surgeries, and we've been doing exhibitions and lectures and talks at universities more than ever. And we have books coming out. Obviously, it's different. It's difficult sometimes, but the idea, we feel, is strong enough that there's no end in sight. In fact, personally, for myself and Lady J, that's the last project. That's the project that leads to the discorporation of the physical body. So, yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Right. FMU, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, hello. You're on the air.
Oh, great. Hey, I just wanted to welcome TG to the United States.
Thank you.
And, hey, I'm originally from Port Huron. It's the home of Hunting Lodge.
Yeah.
Hunting Lodge.
Hunting Lodge. Hopefully you heard of them.
Yeah.
He was on Graham Revell's Side Effects label.
Okay.
And my question is, what aspect of your work brings you the most pleasure?
Which work are you talking about? The TG work?
Yes, I would say the TG work.
The main difference for me between what I do with TG and what I do with other projects of mine is that with TG, I have no idea what's going to happen. You know, we can step on stage, and it's possible we might have agreed a set list of songs 10 minutes before, but I've made virtually no preparations for this tour whatsoever.
So there's a lot of element of chance.
The chance and the third mind, which is as comes from the title of the CD, which we'll be selling on tour, and obviously originally an idea from William Burroughs.
And Brian Gayson.
Which is what they referred to as the kind of creative force that comes when two or more minds are joined in the same kind of a meditative or spiritual state or whatever.
Right.
And as Genesis said, you know, quite often she has to sing, you know, without knowing really what's going to be behind her the next minute. And so the most exciting thing, the most stimulating thing about TG is the element of risk, of success or failure. Or, well, that's not really that so much, but just the unknowing, and the unknowing is an experience we share with the audience. You know, if you come to see one of our shows, it's a mutual unknowing.
Well, I can't wait to see one of your shows. I'm going to see you guys in Chicago on the 25th. So
Great.
Looking forward to it. Hey, can we videotape it?
No.
No?
No.
Are you going to videotape it?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think so.
She said yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you.
All right, see you then.
Bye.
Great.
Bye.
Bye. We'll take a couple more and then we'll take a break, I guess. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. FMU, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Hey, I was sort of calling to inquire about the canceled UCLA event.
Yeah, what about it?
Well, I mean, is it at all possible that maybe it might happen or might be relocated?
There's a show at the Ricardo Montalban Theatre.
You go to the TG website, there's information on there all about the LA show.
www.throbbing-gristle.com has all the information of the... There is an LA show, but it's at that theatre.
Just think Corinthian leather.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Also, do you like Wolfers?
What?
Wolfers? It's a...
They're all
something
looking
you
at
might,
me like they want to hit me or something.
We don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is. Okay, well, so much for that. We'll have to research that.
Do you know what a wolfer is, Fabio?
I have no idea.
Let's Google it.
FMU, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, I just want to say that I've really been into you guys for like 18 years, so that's half my life, 'cause I'm 36. I got to say that listening to Throbbing Gristle is better than college. You know, you guys have taught me so much.
Well, we're not going to give you a diploma, that's the only thing.
Do you have a question?
So, yeah, so I've been a huge fan of Emeralds for years, ever since, you know. I was curious, how did you guys stumble upon them to be opening up for you?
Emeralds. They're opening for you. Emeralds.
No,
They're opening for you at one of the shows in New York.
Yeah.
I think.
Generally, with a lot of these questions, the answers come in dreams. No, the answers come from our advisors. We try not to take. Well, it would be actually physically impossible for us to take too much of an active role in organising these things, and so we tend to leave that to people who know better.
Okay, thanks. Let's take another call here. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Al from Goshen, New York.
Yes.
And I want to know, you've influenced a lot of groups. What group have you influenced that surprised you the most?
Surprised you the most? Interesting.
That is an interesting one. But we could make up anything.
They're all thinking now.
I mean, good Lord, it could be anything. Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey was definitely influenced by Second Annual Report. I can
and
hear
obviously
it.
Britney Spears. With
Obviously,
Lemonade.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
She's copied my hairdo for a start.
Thanks. FMU, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, quick question for y'all.
Yes.
I have a question about your song Maggot Death Brighton.
Right.
What about it?
It's only 57 seconds long, but it seems to be just as crowd talking.
Right.
That's correct.
Could you explain that a little?
Is that when the DJ's screaming, "I hate you all"?
Something like that. Yeah.
Shut the oops up and things like that. I'm
He's
sorry,
screaming
nearly
to the
forgot.
audience, not to the band.
Yeah, that's the DJ screaming at the audience, saying to them, "You don't realize the privilege you're getting right now. One day this will be a legendary band, and you will say, I was there."
Oh, okay. So this was played at a show then.
It was the end of a show in Brighton, and the DJ was defending us as we were attacked physically yet again.
Oh, nice.
All right. So there's your answer.
Thank you.
Thanks. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, I was wondering, I've been going to the Chelsea exhibition of the Derek Jarman retrospective every week, and I was wondering, there's a vague description of Gristle's involvement. I was wondering what they had actually done.
Well, they did soundtrack work.
Soundtrack work?
Yeah.
Well, for the actual exhibition, it seems like there's overhead stuff that's
Overhead
not really,
stuff.
not really Simon Fisher Turner-esque. I was wondering if they did any additional new stuff for the exhibition.
No, we didn't.
No new stuff. We did In the Shadow of the Sun. I think Coyle did. What was the one you
Angelic
did?
Conversation. And
we did Super 8 movies and Mirrors and something else. We've all
Spanish
done.
one? I forget which one that was.
Oh yeah, Catalan. So
Mhm.
between us, we've probably done 8 or 9 film soundtracks for Derek Jarman.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thanks. Bye. FMU, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Maxwell from Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
Hey, Maxwell.
Hello.
Hello, Maxwell. How's
Hello,
your
Jen.
silver hammer?
Jen, thank you so much for the kiss on the right, my right hand.
I remember you.
Yes, that was beautiful. I have a question for you guys. How long do you think you're going to be together this time?
We
About
don't think about
15 days, I think, isn't it?
That's it.
Well,
Physically together.
What do you mean by this time? Do you mean will we suddenly fragment and go off and do other things? Possibly.
I mean, are you planning on keeping TG together indefinitely?
Forever.
We don't plan anything.
We don't plan it. We didn't plan to regroup, so we don't plan to disregroup or disrobe or whatever it might be.
Right.
We just do what feels right at the time.
Well, good.
I have my best boy in Thailand is called X, and he's now working as a street fortune teller. He reads cards and advises people, for small donation to the temple. And he says, "Don't think about the future. Doesn't matter." I say to him, "Well, you're spending all my bloody money. What do you?"
We're all
He
here
says, "Don't
right
think
now."
about the future. We're here right now, right here, right now." Exactly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bless you.
All right.
Thank you.
A blessing.
Next
A
time I'll kiss
blessing.
the other hand.
All right. A blessing. Wow. That was quite nice. Here, one more. Let's do one more.
My name's
FMU,
Justin
you're on the
Lieberman.
air. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Hi. I had a question about the kind of materialist ritual that goes on with the sound in the music, and then all of the spiritual associations that seem to be a part of the music. And I've been listening for, 15 years, but it's always been very difficult for me to reconcile that materialist ritual with all of this stuff that seems kind of like religious aspects of the work.
Materialist?
I guess he means people pay for tickets.
No. I was. That's not it. I was thinking more that in the kind of like Marshall McLuhan sense that it's critical in terms of the way it operates in the media, and that critical aspect of the work always seemed to me to be something that was solidly materialist, and then the spiritual aspects of it seem at odds with that to me.
I would disagree with that. I think that it's the interface between the sacred and the profane that is the most interesting part. And shortly you'll be able to go to www.sacred-profane and see some of my newer photographic works. But to me...
Oh, my God.
That was sneaky.
That's materialist, you say? There'll be a shop there as well, I know that.
There will, yeah. But seriously, the thing that's always been the most exciting for me is when you get both. You get material and you get spiritual. And to me, that's totally what TG is about. It's both. You can't have one without the other.
You have to strike a balance, and life is all about striking a balance and learning about that.
I mean, you have to remember that when it all comes down to it, we've never used TG to guarantee us our daily bills, our way of life. We've always, all of us, worked really hard to survive, to rent a place, to raise a family, to eat, all that stuff that people have to do anyway. We've always managed to do that, but never have it censor or change the content of TG. So in that sense, it's always remained very pure.
It must have been a real struggle, actually, in those days, because you, as you say, you had to work and you had to go about your daily existence, and yet you put in God knows how many hours on the weekends, whenever it was, to do your shows, to do rehearsals, to come up with ideas. Yeah, exactly. So it must have been difficult.
It still is. It's still not our primary way of living. This is what we do to generate a dialogue with the world, and that's a spiritual interface, as Sleazy would say.
Do you, in that regard, do you feel that the world is talking back in a way that you're learning from, that is satisfying to you?
Well, my world is, but your world is a different. Everybody lives in their own world. My world is a fine world that talks to me, but that could be because I'm schizophrenic.
Let's take. Oh, okay. 201-209-9368. We had a nice run of calls there. Let me read one of the questions for Chris. It says here, were the recordings released on the Space Between originally intended as TG instrumentals?
No, they were purely solo projects that I did. Because I was working in the Industrial Record Studio, they used a lot of the same equipment that TG used. And inevitably, they had that sort of TG imprint within them. Mm-hmm. I guess that's.
But they were
just
unique
solo
items.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think that can I just say one small thing is that raises the question of how much we allow TG to influence our personal projects, and how much in reverse the personal projects influence TG. And I don't know what you would think about that, because I think we try quite hard to keep them separate.
We do now.
But it's inevitable that there's a kind of a crossover in some places.
There's some bleed, isn't there? Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in that regard, like with I know with Psychic TV in the very early days, and even sort of towards the late '80s and so forth, it was a distinct, unique, different entity from anything TG had done. I mean, do you feel there was any of that, as Peter was saying, going into your other work like Psychic TV?
Oh, there's always spillage. I mean, just the fact that we constantly use samples and found source material that we still improvise, that we still sometimes go on stage and say, what should we sing about tonight? There's a lot of things that are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And the main difference is just the people that PTV work with as musicians are actually musicians. So the emphasis changes simply because they're also so fast at following my body language and the changes in what I'm saying. But the basic structure isn't that different. It is that you can always edit sound, word, and image, and get these amazing collisions that wouldn't happen any other way but by random chance.
Let's take another call. FMU, you're on the air.
I'd just like to ask how many underage kids come to your shows.
Underage kids.
Under 18.
Uh-huh. I don't know. Does that matter?
Yeah.
It's been cool, the shows we've done so far, to find that there is such a wide range of ages in the audience. It's not just kind of old people.
They are all ages.
Somehow, the stuff that we do appeals to people of all ages and is intended for people of all ages.
We are doing a show in London in June that's an all-ages show that's open to anybody.
It's like
very interesting.
14 plus or something.
14 plus, yeah. And we're hoping to get a lot of young people to come along to that.
Oh, I would, but nope.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're welcome.
Plane tickets, yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not in charge of federal rules.
No.
True.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Right. Shall we take a little break and listen to some more music?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I need a wee-wee.
Okay. We're gonna listen to another track off the new album, The Third Mind Movements, and when we come back, maybe we'll take a couple more calls. Keep this in mind. The number to call is 201-209-9368. And wait until the music stops and we start chatting again, and then call. Okay? Here's some music from Throbbing Gristle. I quite like how that ends there. Okay, let's take another call. Back on the air with Throbbing Gristle. Here we go. FMU, you're on the air. Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. This is Hexlux. You may know me from the Coil list. I don't know. Jen, I met you on your tour down here, Austin, Texas, and gave you a big fat kiss.
Everybody seems to be giving me kisses. What is this?
Hi, how you doing?
Well,
It's
I
the
was
big
honored.
lips.
And Chris and Cosey, I saw you also down here in, I guess, 89 or 90, perhaps.
Yeah.
That was wonderful, too. Sleazy, you're the only one I've not met. And I'm hoping that my VIP pass will give me a chance to meet all of you again.
Me too.
And especially, I had corresponded with mostly Balance during
Right.
the 90s. And so, anyway, just 93. And my best wishes to all of you, and good health, and I'll see you then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I was told that I have to say that we're on WFMU East Orange, WXHD Mount Hope, and WFMU.org, our legal announcement there. Let's see. Do we have another call here? Yeah. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm curious about your guys' use of software. If you're doing any self-made stuff these days with environments such as Max MSP or whatever, or if you're using off-the-shelf stuff.
We use pretty much off-the-shelf stuff. Although possibly Chris is qualified to use Max.
Yeah, I have used Max.
Generally, life's too short, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And now that they're going to amalgamate, they're going to make a version of Max available for Live 8. I'm probably going to use it more. But whether that will be used within TG is another matter.
Okay, well, thank you. Interesting to know.
Okay.
What about that story about the gristalizer you were telling me?
The gristalizer?
Yeah, the gristalizer was an effects unit that I made in the 70s for Throbbing Gristle, and it was a design published in an electronics magazine in the UK, and I modified it, put it in a box, and made a box for each of TG, and we used to put our instruments through it, and it mangled the sound. And then I made a few more for other people, and it sort of gained this mythical status as this sort of grungelizer that made everything sound like Throbbing Gristle. The parts became very hard to find, and I couldn't make them anymore. Anyway, 30 years on, someone's decided to make a reproduction of the gristalizer, a company in Nashville, and we're launching it at the Chicago show. They're going to hand over individual editions for each of us to have. Cosey is the only member of Throbbing Gristle that still has her original gristalizer, and while we were testing it for this company so they could make the reproductions, it actually blew up and broke down. So
another experiment.
Yeah, that went wrong. So there are no original gristalizers in existence anymore.
Wow.
that work, and this company is making this new gristalizer that's based on the original design.
Let's see. We have a question from from our call screener Jeff, who's been helping out here in the studio. It says here, do you feel that any of the other bands labeled industrial are your artistic peers or fellow travelers, i.e. Cabaret Voltaire, SBK, Clock DVA, etc.?
I think most... No. Industrial has become like a Frankenstein's monster. It doesn't bear any relation to what industrial was back in the 70s. It's become something completely different, and I don't recognise it as being industrial, really. Although I suppose technically, if you take it literally, a lot of those bands do sound industrial with the driving rhythms and the mechanical sort of sound.
Right. But I guess from your perspective, it was more, what's the term? The concepts that you were imbuing into your project were very unique. They were of a particular mindset, and you were trying to make very particular statements where these other bands may not have had the same ideas in mind.
No, they do take it very literally.
I think a lot of people got into it just as a sort of accessorizing style.
So like blues.
Well, we even started to complain in the research books that people were thinking, Oh, as long as there's no drummer and there's a drum machine and I scream and I talk about a serial killer, I'm industrial.
Right.
And
there were a lot of bands like that came around.
And that wasn't what we were trying to do at all. Plus, it meant they weren't listening to our music because 20 Jazz Funk Greats is not like that at all.
Exactly.
For example.
Yeah.
So it became very frustrating that we were getting we were becoming the signpost for this whole very trivialized version of what we were actually originally trying to say. And while we were saying those original things, we were evolving and changing anyway. So 5 years on, when that was happening, we were no longer what they were trying to emulate in the first place.
Okay. Let's take another call on the air. FMU, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to know what some of you, particularly Sleazy and Jen, think about the way the media landscape has changed in the past 30 years. In some respects, I think that things are more democratized and there's more, it's more accessible. But also, I think that basically the power of control in the media superstructure has become even more monolithic. And I'm wondering if you feel as despairing as I do about the possibility of real change in people's consciousness and in the world around us.
Some mornings we do, and some mornings we don't. It depends day to day. It's easy to get despairing, but then again, that's like door number one. What's the point? It's like existentialism. Maybe when you die there's nothing, well, then that's not worth exploring. So look for alternatives. Look for different ways of perceiving it. Look for different ways of talking to people. And ultimately look at the fact that when you do meet individuals one-on-one, they tend to want the same sort of things as you, to be left alone, to be happy, to be creative, and to survive.
Okay.
And the glass is always a quarter full.
A quarter full. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. Okay, thank you. FMU, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey kids, how are you doing?
Kids, I like
great.
that.
I
Kids.
Love that. Brilliant. This is Bree in Brooklyn. I was just going to say that, it's interesting to me that I run into you people like one every decade. The last time you and I spoke, Jen, was at the Pyramid for the Live at the Pyramid.
Wow. That's in like 86
that was like
or
88.
something? 88.
That's 88, yeah.
Yeah, that was like 88, and we had a bit of a long conversation after a Danceteria show in 84.
Wow.
That was a brilliant show, gotta say. And I'm just interested in, where are you going to be on Beltane?
What day is it? What day
Beltane.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know what it is, but when is it? I don't know that
Oh,
anymore.
it's May Day.
It's right after we just played.
Yes, going to be at home with my dog, Big Boy.
Oh, lovely. Well, at any rate, I hope that we catch up on Friday at Le Poisson Rouge, and I will be coming with a mutual friend of ours, Jen, Mona Mason.
Oh, Mona! Oh, great!
Yeah, I'm bringing Mona along. So.
About bloody time too.
Right. She was supposed to email you today, but
she did actually. She did.
Well, brilliant. So I'm going to bring her along, and we'll have a bit of a laugh.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
That'd be lovely. And I ran into Sleazy on 2nd Avenue a couple times back in the 80s, and it would be lovely to meet the rest of you folks.
Right.
Thank you.
We folks can't wait.
All right. Oh, FMU, you're on the air.
Hi. I was wondering if the band is still influenced by exotica music, like Martin Denny and Arthur Lyman.
It's hard not to like lounge, however much it's overplayed and over promoted and has become something totally different as a genre than it was when Throbbing Gristle first started. Lounge is now a totally different. It's kind of associated in my mind with advertising of kind of mid-price saloon cars and things like that. But it's even despite that, it's hard not to like it, and I still enjoy.
How can you not enjoy Martin
Moon
Denny?
Gas and stuff like that?
Moon Gas, that's a great record. Yeah.
I still have about 20 plus vinyl albums of Martin Denny and Arthur Lyman, and
they're great.
But one of my all-time favorite souvenirs is a copy of Throbbing Gristle's Greatest Hits with Cosey on the cover. And it's signed to Genesis from Martin Denny. Boyd Rice got it done in Hawaii when he was still alive. Yes. That's one of my all-time favorite special fetish items.
He autographed it for you, did he?
Yes.
That's great. That's great. He's fantastic. I love Martin Denny. Let's take another call, shall we? FMU, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. So about the TG-24 box. My question is, what would your suggestion be for the best context to listen to such a monolithic piece of work in one sitting?
One sitting. Wow, you're strong.
Heavy going.
And Cosey's going. She's shaking her head. No.
What was that journalist that did it and wrote a really good piece
Alex
about it?
Petridis from The Guardian.
The Guardian, yeah.
What was his name?
Alex Petridis. Yeah.
He actually did listen to 24 Hours through headphones for 24 hours, keeping awake. His wife apparently nearly divorced him over it. And he said he wrote this amazing article about it, and around about halfway through he had this epiphany where he suddenly went, oh my God, it really is the soundtrack of what's going on.
He suddenly got it. Yeah.
He suddenly said he had this sort of shift of consciousness.
Wow.
And thereafter it was really easy to keep going to the end. We've also had people tell us that they took Datura.
Datura, really?
And then listened to the entire 24 hours.
Without vomiting?
Wow.
Well, that we don't remember. People have done it in all sorts of different ways and combinations. Often trying to stay awake is part of the problem.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So
it's
really
quite
down
ambitious,
to your.
though.
It's really down to your own personal choice and metabolism.
Okay. Also, I have a question more specifically directed towards Genesis.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
You want a big kiss, right? You want another big kiss. Come on.
Okay. Do you have a small wolf where your penis should be?
Oh, man.
That's a very strangely phrased question.
Oh, well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
We have a tattoo of a wolf next to our penis. Is that what you mean?
Well, no. I mean, I'm only really
I'm trying to
interested
find
if you
out
have-
whether we still have one or not.
Yeah, I would only care if you had one in place of your penis, not next to it, or
We don't believe it's genetically possible to grow one yet.
A wolf?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you do have hope, though.
We
Okay.
have hope of everything.
Thank you. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Steve calling from Hoboken.
Yes, Steve.
Hi. One of the questions that I really wanted to ask was, when Throbbing Gristle reformed, did you get a lot of flack or criticism as TG reforming as a cynical thing?
That's interesting.
Strangely, I think that the public in general has become much wiser in the last 30 years than it might have been back then. Or maybe because our records are already out and people kind of know a little bit what to expect, even if we don't. I think...
they've accepted the unexpected?
The possibility of it, yeah. And so I think one shouldn't be concerned about that.
Okay.
There's always the odd person who's whining that they can't get everything for free anymore by downloading it and stealing it. Therefore, we must be materialistic.
Right.
But generally, people have been excited to see what would happen next, as have we.
Yeah, I would say so.
You know, it's an ongoing journey. It's a narrative with nobody writing it, so it's always interesting.
Another person writes in. They want to know what bands or music are you listening to today that interests you?
Well, I personally listen to a lot of Thai country music because I live in Thailand, and the country music they have, especially from the northeastern part of Thailand, is fantastic. It's similar to American country music in that the songs are about people's dogs getting run over by trucks and their wives, going off with the little sister or whatever. It's like, typical kind of same subject matter, but just treated in a very different way. I try not to listen to Western music if possible, although even there, that's hard.
I mean, obviously, for myself, I don't know, I listen to the Yeah, but they're friends of mine. I tend to listen to people who are friends.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been listening to the last Coil album because Sleazy gave it to me a couple of weeks ago, and it's a very prophetic one in terms of Jeff John Balance and his vocals and stories. But over any period of time in my house, it would be whatever it was that we're listening to would tend to be recorded before 1969.
Right. I know you're a big fan of psychedelic pop and that sort of thing.
And the Incredible String Band. And Dr. Strangely Strange.
Of course. Cosey, any ideas on that? No.
She wants to go to bed.
One last call, okay? I know you all want to take off, so I'm not going to torture you anymore. But I first of all, I want to thank you all really for coming down here and doing this. It's really, really a pleasure, and really
they're all really jet lagged. They've all
I'm
actually
sure
come
they
from,
are
from way far away.
Yes, you came from Thailand,
from Bangkok,
from Bangkok, and that's a long haul. So really, thank you all for coming in here and doing this. Let me give you one last call, and then we'll say our goodbyes. FMU, you're on the air. You're the last caller.
Hello, Fabio and Gristle.
Hi. Yes, hello.
Hello.
This is Rick from Circle X.
Rick,
your contemporary.
Hey,
Gristle. We were in Dijon in 78, 79, and while we did listen to you, we were a little introspective and didn't concentrate because we had our wheels in gear. And I think it's just wonderful that Fabio's got you over here and that you guys have been so kind and come along. How's it going for you?
Good.
You ready for bed?
Absolutely.
Well, we're the lucky one this time because we live in Brooklyn, so we just have a 10-minute taxi ride back to the dog and we're fine.
Wow.
There you go. And he's been quite kind to you, hasn't he?
He has been very good.
Yeah. Rick, stop greasing the wheels here.
Come on, you've been pasting their back. Let me paste yours.
Okay. We'll have to chat later.
Give him a CD or two from the libraries there, Fabio.
Oh, yeah, right.
But what about the question? This was meant to be the very, very last.
That's true,
question.
Rick. Do you have a question for the band? No?
Actually, yes, I do.
Okay.
What's the next thing? Just something quick acoustic, maybe? Ballads? Love songs?
The thing is, you never know.
Even we don't know.
I think a love song, you guys are ready for it, you know?
But we've done lots of love songs.
A bit of crooning.
Oh, come on. Almost a Kiss is a love song with crooning.
Yeah. There you go, see?
No, you guys can put your own twist on it, I'm sure.
I think Hamburger Lady is kind of a love song.
Lady.
I think, Fabio, you've got to play Almost a Kiss now.
Almost a Kiss. I got to dig it out.
Thank you guys all. Thank you, Fabio.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Good night. Have a lovely evening.
We'll chat.
See you soon.
Rick.
We'll chat later.
Oh,
Thanks,
is that
Rick.
your boyfriend?
Oh, my boyfriend. He's a pal. He's one of the members of Circle X.
I was just teasing.
And he was here not too long ago. They reissued a record of theirs last year. Okay. Well, I know you all. Paul's there, ready to get out.
Whisk us away.
Okay. Well, listen. thank you all really so much for coming down to the station. And Genesis, behave yourself.
It was great. It was fun.
It really was. Thank you very, very much for coming down to the station. It was a great pleasure to have you here. And we'll see you tomorrow night at the Masonic Temple in Fort Greene in Brooklyn. That's going to be a lot of fun.
And then on Friday?
On Friday at the Poisson Rouge. And then again on the 28th, I believe it is, at the Masonic Temple. Right. So 3 shows in New York. No one has a reason to miss Throbbing Gristle now.
Except that the first and the last are already sold out.
Yeah, but there's one more show.
There is one more that has tickets available.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's the Friday show, I believe. Yeah. So, get your tickets and go see Throbbing Gristle. I'm sure it's going to be quite an event.
It'll be as surprising to you as it is to us.
Thank you so much, really. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you indeed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Spank you.